The name of my session is Zero Liquid Discharge and Recycle of Industrial Wastewater. Now, in today's world, this is one of the prime most subjects because water is getting scarcer and scarcer. So, this is one of the ways to ensure that the human population and living population gets sufficient water for the daily course. There are great movements by individuals and institutions to save water, to distribute water, and to conserve water in terms of water pools and water bodies. Rivers are getting rejuvenated. There are many companies or many institutions working, NGOs working to rejuvenate the old rivers. But however, just imagine you have generated a lot of water out of these efforts, and you just construct a small chemical plant by the side and discharge the effluent into this water pool. The whole effort is waste. The water pool is totally contaminated, and you cannot really use that water. This is what happens in the real world. There is a lot of water available, but then it's all contaminated. I will not go into details because the time provided is very short. But what I want to highlight here is, along with saving of water or rejuvenating water bodies, we must equally emphasize the control of water pollution through zero liquid discharge and water recycle. These together can save a lot of water and make this planet habitable, more habitable. Actually speaking, the water that an industry discharges into the nature should exactly match the water it receives from the nature. Theoretically, it should be like this. But this is simply not possible for various reasons. Okay. And that is why zero liquid discharge. By zero liquid discharge, we mean not a single drop of wastewater should go out of the industrial premises. And the entire water has to be recycled back to the industry. Which means, for example, an industry utilizes, or let me say discharges, 1 million liters of water per day outside the industry, maybe into a river or into fields or whatever. The entire water has to be recycled back to the industry. So it doesn't take fresh water to that order, which means almost 1 million liters of fresh water intake is saved. This is the basic purpose of zero liquid discharge. Now, what are the sources of water pollution where you require zero liquid discharge? There are 4 major sources according to me. The first one is municipal wastewater, which I'm not going to touch because this is not a subject of today's talk. I'm discussing only industrial wastewater. Natural sources and pollution due to pesticides and fertilizers, I'm not taking as a matter of subject. Industrial wastewater, you have various types of industries. And when you are trying to have zero discharge plant of industrial wastewater of a particular industry, it could be a combination of various technologies. It could be traditional ATP, biogas, membrane technology. And finally, whatever kind of technology you are using, in order to have a zero liquid discharge, finally you need to have evaporation, crystallization, filtration, and drying. It is a combination of these unit operations, especially evaporation and drying. The advantage of ZLD, as I was mentioning to you, you are recycling the entire water, almost entire water. In some cases, more than 50% water because you are generating a slurry which is reutilizable. Okay. The total, as I mentioned to you, it will promote the water conservation because you are not using fresh water. And it will also bring down the contamination of large bodies, large surface bodies. After recycling of the waste, recycling of the water, what remains is solid waste. There are many ways of disposing of solid waste because once you are recycling the water, what will you do with the waste? You can either use it as a landfill, or you can sell it as a product, compost it if it is organic waste, and create fertilizer, incinerate it in your boiler, or gasify it. So you have so many options depending on the type of industry, and we have exercised most of these options in our plants. And we are handling almost all types of wastewater from all these industries. You can see almost every industry we have handled, and every solution is unique. So when you are recycling the water and creating solid waste and finding out the uses for solid waste, every solution is unique because it is governed by techno-commercial, legal, social, locational, even country-wise. It changes. The solution changes. We have given plants in almost 15 countries. So country-wise, the solution totally changes. In short, industrial wastewater, then you are heating it, you are recycling water, and finally the solids are disposed. This is what, in short, is the technology. Now let me take a couple of case studies. Yeah. First case study I want to take is about a food processing industry. It's a global giant in food processing and beverages. These plants were given in South America. Now, the wastewater is very bad. It is smelly and it contaminates the nearby water bodies. So they requested us to supply a zero liquid discharge plant, and their main product is potato chips. It's a global brand. Okay, this is the wastewater we are talking about. Smelly, black in color, with a lot of organics. COD is around 20,000. Chemical oxygen demand is almost 20,000 ppm. The biochemical oxygen demand is almost 10,000 ppm. And this is the water we are returning from our system, which is utilizable in cooling tower, in floor washings. Okay, where they used to take fresh water, they are using the wastewater now in this form. And the solids we are collecting through our dryer, and it is used for landfill. It's a real zero discharge, not a drop of water is going out of the industrial premises. And this is the plant we supplied from India. We have done a repeat order this year. So during COVID, the erection has taken place, and now we'll be commissioning the plant. This is the second plant we have done for them in Colombia. Okay. The entire plant, including the structure, has been supplied by us. And this technology is very unique because this requires a heat source for evaporation of wastewater. And we are providing the heat from their potato frying furnace. It means practically the expenditure on heat is zero. We are utilizing the waste heat. Okay, the plant is successful, so we have got a repeat order, and we are mostly getting another 3 repeat orders from South America. Then another case study is on ethanol industry, where we have more than 35 references in India and outside India also. As you are aware, cane molasses is used for making ethanol or alcohol. Alcohol is used for potable purposes as well as for fuel, as a mix with the fuel. And I'll just show you a slide as to what we are doing for this industry. You can see the wastewater. This is the wastewater, and this is the water we are returning. And this water is utilized back for molasses dilution, which means no fresh water taken. The quantities involved vary from 3 lakh liters, that is 300,000 liters per day, to 1.5 million liters per day, 15 lakh liters per day. This is the quantity of wastewater we are handling for various installations. And nearly equivalent is the saving of water because we are recycling the entire water. And this technology has been developed totally in-house. Evaporation is a unit operation available in chemical engineering, but there are fine fine things which need to be incorporated. Because if this water is slightly colored, yellowish, contaminated, you cannot reuse it. So this water is totally reusable, and that is the credit to my company. Now, once you remove the water, the solids are utilized either for composting, biocomposting, along with sugarcane paste mud, and a process that we have developed is that we dry the concentrate in order to produce solid fertilizer. This is a very unique fertilizer, the value of which is being realized by customers now, that it is having more than 20% organic carbon. We have done 4 plants till now, and we have found that more than 20% organic carbon is available in the solid fertilizer. Why? I mean, what is the importance of this figure 20%? In soil, we have not more than 0.5 to 0.7% organic carbon. In fertilizers, organic fertilizers, which are made out of cow dung and all that, not more than 4% organic carbon is available. So 20% is definitely a big quantity. And this also has more than 15% potash in form of K2O. So when you say NPK fertilizer, the K is imported in India from countries which are old Soviet bloc. It is imported at a very heavy price. Whereas it exists in this fertilizer, which is otherwise a waste. Okay. So we are trying to make this popular. We have made representation to various institutions and government bodies. And slowly the importance of this is understood by customers. Now, this is a typical plant. Okay, this has been supplied in Myanmar by us, a total turnkey project. This handles around 800,000 liters, that is 8 lakh liters of waste. This is a plant supplied in Maharashtra. This along with the dryers, which makes powder. This is also supplied in Maharashtra. So these are turnkey plants what we are making. This is a plant supplied in Africa, Zambia, again from molasses. And a small clip on this. This is a product from the dryer, which goes as fertilizer. And one of my customers is selling at a good price, and he calls it K Boost. K Boost is nothing but potassium boost. Okay. So this is what I wanted to present in this presentation of 10 minutes, 2 case studies, and the importance of water recycle and zero liquid discharge. Thank you so much.
So question is, this is required as chloride is the only constraint to recycle treated effluent in CT makeup. So will you be able to answer this question?
Yes, I can answer because this is with respect to our teams and our plants. Okay. See, the water which is generated in our plants, our treatment plants, zero liquid discharge plant, it will have a TDS less than 150 ppm. Okay. So this is many times lower than the drinking water configuration suggested by WHO. WHO suggests 500 ppm. And 150 ppm is really an excellent composition. And even if you have all 150 ppm as chloride, it can be used for cooling down. There is no issue. Another aspect which is important for recycle to cooling tower is the COD, chemical oxygen demand.
Yes.
Of the wastewater. Otherwise, COD, high COD and BOD in the recycled water, that is makeup water, can give rise to bioorganisms in cooling tower. That is another headache. The water that is recycled, depending on the type of industry. For example, if you have an industry like alcohol-based industry, the effluent which I was talking about, there we are able to maintain COD of 750 ppm and below. Okay, so this water can be recycled in cooling tower. My customers are doing it; they have no issues about it. And the BOD will be less than 250 ppm in such cases. So my customers are doing it. Okay. But if you have a contamination of water, the water is yellowish, brownish, then you have an issue. So the SOP here, the most important thing here is that you need to control the color of the water that you are supplying and the TDS of the water that you are supplying from your system. So we are able to meet these requirements.